You're 25 years old. You decide to invest just $7,000 a year into one account. Nothing flashy. No day trading, no crypto gambling, no get-rich-quick nonsense. You simply max out one retirement account every single year. Fast forward 40 years, that account is now worth over $3 million. And here's the insane part. You legally pay zero taxes on it. Not on the growth, not on the withdrawals, not on the gains. The IRS gets absolutely nothing from those millions. Now, most people hear retirement account and immediately think, cool, so I can use that when I'm old. But that's not what makes the Roth IRA powerful. The real secret is that a Roth IRA is way more flexible than most people realize. It can act like a backup emergency fund, a first home savings tool, an early retirement bridge, a long-term investment machine, and one of the greatest wealth transfer tools ever created. And yet, millions of people either never open one, don't understand how it works, or wait way too long to start. So in this video, we're breaking down the complete Roth IRA strategy. How it works, why it's so powerful, how ordinary people turn small yearly contributions into millions, and how to use it from your 20s all the way into retirement. Because if you understand this account early enough, it can completely change your financial future. Let's get into it. What a Roth IRA actually is. First, let's clear up the confusion. A Roth IRA is not an investment. It's an account. Think of it like a container. Inside the container, you can hold investments. Stocks, index funds, ETFs, bonds, mutual funds. The Roth IRA itself is simply the tax structure surrounding those investments. And that tax structure is unbelievably powerful. Here's how it works. With a traditional retirement account, you usually get a tax break now, but pay taxes later. A Roth IRA flips that system upside down. You pay taxes today, so you never pay them again later. That means your investments grow tax-free. Your dividends are tax-free. Your gains are tax-free, and qualified withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. Forever. That single difference changes the entire math of long-term investing, because taxes quietly destroy massive amounts of wealth over time. Most people underestimate how much. Imagine two investors who both build a $3 million portfolio. One owes taxes on withdrawals. The other doesn't. That difference alone can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars staying in your pocket instead of going to the government. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be rich to use a Roth IRA. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need perfect stock picks. You just need time, consistency, and patience. That's it. 2. The real magic is compounding. Now let's talk about the part that changes everything. Compound growth. Because the Roth IRA itself is powerful, but compound interest is what turns it into a monster. Here's what most people don't realize. The first $100,000 you build is painfully slow. The first few years barely feel exciting. You contribute, the account grows a little, markets go up, markets go down, nothing dramatic happens. And that's exactly why most people quit too early. They expect investing to feel exciting, but wealth building usually feels boring in the beginning. Then, suddenly, the curve bends upward. And once that happens, the numbers start getting ridiculous. Imagine someone starts investing at 25. They max out their Roth IRA every year. Not perfectly timing the market, not finding hidden stocks, just consistently investing into broad market index funds. At first, the growth feels small, then moderate, then eventually massive. Because compound growth is exponential. In the early years, your contributions matter most. Later, your investments start doing more work than you do. Eventually, the market contributes more money than you personally invested.
That's the moment people finally understand why starting early matters so much. Not because early contributions are larger, but because they have more time to multiply. Time is the real superpower. $1 invested at 25 is dramatically more valuable than $1 invested at 45. Not because the dollar changed, because time changed. And the people who understand that early gain an almost unfair advantage later.
3. Why most people start too late. Now here's the frustrating part. Most people don't ignore Roth IRAs because they're lazy. They ignore them because retirement feels abstract. When you're 25, retirement sounds impossibly far away. Life feels immediate. Bills feel immediate. Vacations feel immediate. Upgrading your car feels immediate. But age 65? That barely feels real. So people delay investing because future rewards feel emotionally distant. And that delay becomes expensive. Very expensive. Because compound interest doesn't just reward investing, it rewards early investing. Someone who starts at 25 can often contribute less overall than someone who starts at 35 and still end up with far more money. That's the brutal math of delayed investing. Every year you wait quietly costs future wealth. And the scary part? Most people don't realize the damage until decades later. By then, catching up becomes much harder. This is why financial literacy matters so much. Not because investing is complicated, but because small, early decisions create massive long-term outcomes.
4. Why the Roth IRA is different from other accounts. Now you might be wondering, if Roth IRAs are this good, why doesn't everyone only use Roth accounts? Because every account type solves a different problem. Traditional retirement accounts help lower taxes today. Roth accounts eliminate taxes later. Brokerage accounts offer flexibility, but less tax protection. Each has strengths, but the Roth IRA occupies a very unique position because it combines tax-free growth, flexibility, and long-term compounding. And that combination is rare. For example, traditional retirement accounts usually force withdrawals later in life. Roth IRAs don't. Traditional accounts create future tax uncertainty. Roth IRAs remove that uncertainty. And psychologically, that matters because retirement becomes simpler when you already know your withdrawals are tax-free. You don't constantly worry about changing tax laws, rising tax brackets, or how much of your retirement income you actually get to keep. You already know. It's yours.
5. The flexibility most people don't know about. Now this is where things get really interesting. Because most people think Roth IRAs completely lock your money away until retirement. That's not entirely true. Inside your Roth IRA are two categories of money: your contributions and your investment gains. Your contributions can generally be withdrawn anytime without taxes or penalties. That surprises a lot of people. Now, obviously, you don't want to constantly pull money out of retirement accounts. That defeats the purpose. But understanding this flexibility matters psychologically, because many beginners avoid investing out of fear. They think, what if I need the money later? The Roth IRA gives you more flexibility than most retirement accounts. And for some people, that makes it emotionally easier to start investing in the first place. There are also special rules around first home purchases, certain emergencies, and specific qualified withdrawals. The point isn't to constantly access retirement money early. The point is understanding that the account is more versatile than most people realize. And versatility creates options.
6. The biggest mistake people make. Now let's talk about the mistake that quietly destroys thousands of Roth IRAs. People open the account and never invest the money. Seriously, this happens constantly. Someone opens a Roth IRA, transfers money into it, then leaves the cash sitting there doing absolutely nothing. No index funds,
no investments, no growth. Just cash. And years later, they wonder why the account barely grew. A Roth IRA is only as powerful as the investments inside it. The account itself does not create wealth automatically. The investments do. This is why simple, long-term investing matters so much. And honestly, simple usually beats complicated. Most beginners think investing success comes from predicting markets, finding hidden stocks, timing crashes, or constantly trading. Historically, most professionals fail to consistently outperform simple index investing over long periods. That's why so many experienced investors eventually simplify. Because simplicity scales better across decades. And decades are what matter most in retirement investing.
7. Market crashes and why they matter less than people think. Now, eventually, every investor faces the same emotional test. The market crashes. And when it happens, it feels terrifying. Headlines get dramatic, people panic, your account balance drops, and suddenly, investing feels like a mistake. But this is where long-term investors think differently. Because market crashes are not unusual. They are normal. Every major crash in history felt catastrophic while it was happening. Yet over long enough periods, markets historically recovered and continued growing. The investors who panic sell during downturns often lock in losses permanently. The investors who stay consistent usually benefit over time, especially inside a Roth IRA, because every recovery happens tax-free. And ironically, market downturns can actually help long-term investors. Why? Because when prices fall, your ongoing contributions buy more shares, which means future recoveries become even more powerful. This is why discipline matters more than prediction. Most wealth isn't built by perfectly timing markets. It's built by staying invested long enough for compounding to work.
8. The hidden psychology of wealth building. Here's something nobody tells beginners. Building wealth feels emotionally strange. At first, your contributions feel tiny, progress feels slow, and your account balance feels insignificant. But over time, something shifts. You stop obsessing over individual contributions because the investments themselves begin generating meaningful growth. That's the transition from working for money to having money work for you. And once people experience that shift psychologically, their entire relationship with investing changes. Because they finally see consistency matters, patience matters, and time matters more than intensity. The people who quietly build wealth over decades rarely look impressive early on. But decades later, the compounding becomes undeniable.
9. The cost of waiting. Now, let's talk about something uncomfortable. Waiting. Because financially, waiting is unbelievably expensive. Most people assume they'll start later when life settles down. But life rarely settles down. Expenses increase. Responsibilities increase. Time disappears faster than expected. And every delayed year reduces the amount of time compounding has to work. This is why starting imperfectly beats waiting perfectly. Even small, consistent contributions matter. Even opening the account matters. Because starting creates momentum. And momentum changes behavior. People who begin investing early often continue investing. People who endlessly delay usually keep delaying. The hardest part of investing is rarely the math. It's starting. So let's zoom out. The Roth IRA isn't magic. It's not a shortcut. It's not instant wealth. It's not a hack. It's something much more powerful. It's a system. A long-term system that rewards patience, consistency, and discipline. And over enough time,
that system can completely transform someone's financial future. The reason the Roth IRA matters so much isn't just because of tax savings. It's because it allows ordinary people to quietly build extraordinary wealth over decades, one contribution at a time. That's how real wealth is usually built, not all at once, but gradually, consistently, patiently. And if you start early enough, those small yearly contributions can eventually become life-changing amounts of money. Tax-free, forever. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into investing, wealth building, and financial psychology. And let me know in the comments, what age did you open your first investment account? Or if you haven't started yet, what's stopping you? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.